Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Hourglass and YSL new lip liners and lip blushers or matte lip balms, whatever you want to call them. They're kind of in the same category. So, I picked up the 3 new Hourglass lip pencils. I also have a bunch of the YSL Kiss Shaper sculpting lip liners that came out with their Love Nude lip blushers. So I've got all of the lip blushers. I also have 4 of the Hourglass. These are the new Blur Balms. So let's take a look at all of these. All right, so we're going to start off with the Hourglass lip pencils. So we have 3 new shades. This one here is 1.5 T's, and these do come with a sharpener. So when you purchase these, you do get a sharpener with each. So that is T's 1.5. You can see it's going to be a soft nude pink with a touch of peach. So it's not going to be overly cool. And it actually leans a little warm. Then we have Obsess 4.5, which is going to be deeper. This one is more of a medium toned mauve. Really pretty shade. You can see this one is going to be cooler than T's 1.5. And then we have Strut number 8, which is kind of a rich espresso brown. And yeah, these are the 3 new shades. Let's take a look at these on the lips. The Hourglass lip pencils retail for $29 US. We have 1.2 grams of product, a 1-year shelf life, and these are made in Germany. As I mentioned, they do come with a pencil sharpener. So the formula itself is not new. These first originated a couple of years back, but they did just release 3 new shades. Currently, the new shades are available at Hourglass, but they will be available at Sephora in the next couple of days. The lip pencils are described as an ultra creamy, transfer resistant lip liner that defines, shapes, and sculpts lips for full coverage color that lasts all day. And I would say that this is true. This is a formula I personally really enjoy, but I haven't always loved their color lineup that they've had so far. So I was really excited to see these new shades. This is definitely creamy going on, and it sets fairly quickly. So within 30 seconds, it is fully set. It will last all day. This is a lip pencil that, it's not really going to be an issue to wear all day and just top with a lip gloss. It stays on. If you do put something oily on top, like a lip oil or a lip gloss, you can get a little bit of color transfer because that oil will help kind of lift the product a little bit, but it's not going to it's not going to come right off, if that makes sense. And one of the great things about this lip pencil is it really will fill in evenly on your lips. So you can see this is going to be a really nice, kind of a standard lip pencil, but with all of my boxes checked. Overall, I think they are great lip pencils, so I was excited to try the new shades when they launch. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at the YSL lip pencils. Now, before we move on to the swatches, I am removing the 3 Hourglass shades. We are going to re-swatch those just a little bit smaller so that the YSL can stand out, but we can still compare colors. So we're going to go ahead. This is going to be the YSL in 44. And let's put it here. You can see this is going to be a soft peachy pink. This is their, nude lavalier shade, which they have in, it's their iconic shade. So it's in every formula. Then we have number 1, which is going to be a bit deeper. And this is going to be kind of a rosy nude. And these 2 are the 2 that I purchased originally. And I really loved the formula. So I picked up some more of these. And you can see that these are a bit more of a blurring lip liner, which I feel like isn't as common. Then we have 102. Which is going to be a soft brown. And you can see this one is going to lean warm. There is some peach in here, a little bit of an orangey here. Then we have 103. Got a little close there. 103 here is going to also be a nude shade, but this one has a little bit more pink in it. It still leans warm though. And 104 is going to be here. This one here you can see is going to be a warm rose with a little bit more of a soft terracotta hint. We have 107, which is going to be a rich cocoa brown. And this one is neutral leaning, slightly cool. And then we have 108, which is going to be a kind of a little bit more of a reddish brown. Think of like a deep redwood. You can see a little bit of red in here. So these are going to be the YSL lip liners. All right, so going back to the Hourglass, this is going to be our Tease 1.5. I want to put that in between 44 and number 1. You can see that the Tease is going to be a little bit more pink. It's slightly cooler. It doesn't have as much peach. And then we have Obsess 4.5, which is, let's put it here. This is a bit more of a rosy mauve shade, and you can see this is going to be cooler and more pink than the YSL shades. The YSL shades, you know, run fairly warm. Typically Hourglass does too, so kind of surprised me a little bit. And then we have Strut number 8. Let's put that, it's going to be easier to put that here. And you can see this is going to be a bit of a deeper cocoa, and it's a bit more of a neutral brown. It leans cool, but it's going to be richer than this one here, which was 107. Not as red as 108, or yes, 106. So my bad, I actually mixed these up. This is 106 and that's 107. I thought it said 108, but I just didn't read it properly. So there we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the YSL lip pencils on the lips. Just like the Hourglass, these also retail for $29 US. These are called the Kiss Shaper Long Lasting Sculpting Lip Liners. And we have 1.2 grams of product, just like the Hourglass. It does not come with a sharpener. We have a 2-year shelf life, and these are made in Germany as well. So definitely some similarities in the price, the size of the pencil, and where it's made, but the YSL have a 2-year shelf life versus a 1-year shelf life, and the Hourglass come with a sharpener, whereas the YSL don't. As for the shades here, I picked up quite a few of these shades. These lip pencils are described as a long-lasting, transfer-resistant, creamy lip liner that glides on effortlessly and doesn't smudge or fade. So we have kind of a similar description with the Hourglass. It's kind of your standard lip pencil description. But what I think is different about these is these YSL lip pencils are more of a blurring lip pencil, and so you can see applying these that there's more of a blurred edge. It's not going to give you that crisp defined edge that we see with a classic lip pencil that you can achieve with Hourglass. So it's kind of like they're in a different category, even though it doesn't explicitly say that. So one of the things though, because this is kind of a blurring balm, it also doesn't go on as evenly, which is more evident with some of the deeper shades here. So you can see it can look a little patchy if you're doing all over color. You have to be a little more conscientious when you're applying it to make sure that you have that even coverage if you are not putting anything on top of it. But it does give a really nice blurred edge effect, and it pairs really well with blurring lip products to kind of give you a little bit of definition, but not take away from that blurred edge look. Both the Hourglass and the YSL lip pencils are going to be long wearing. They're very creamy going on. They have a similar texture. The Hourglass does set more quickly. Both of them will set and last all day, but I do feel like the Hourglass is slightly more transfer resistant than the YSL. The YSL is just a little bit easier to remove. It feels a little bit lighter in terms of the product being on your lip. So almost like it's a thinner formula, but they both have a very similar texture. So just a couple of differences there between them. So in my opinion, the YSL is a very nice lip pencil, but I do think of it more as a blurring lip pencil, which kind of stands out a bit from my traditional lip pencils. The Hourglass is definitely much more in the traditional category. So I really enjoy both of them, but for different reasons. Personally, for the YSL, I love having something that goes well with those blurred lip looks. But the deeper shades, if you are going all over in color, again, those can be a little patchy. So you just have to be a little bit more thoughtful in your application. So I do tend to prefer the lighter shades of the YSL. In terms of, color ranges, the Hourglass and the YSL both have a pretty extensive range, but I would have to say that overall the YSL shades are going to run a little bit warmer than the Hourglass. And you know, both of them overall for their entire lines run a bit warm. So we've got some cooler tones here that Hourglass has just recently added, but their previous shades have all run very warm as well. So just something to note when you're looking at the colors. They do skew a little bit warmer than what you see in the promo photos. So one more time, let's take a look at those shades here. So we have YSL in 44, 1, 102, 103, 104. This is actually 107 and 106, which I mistakenly thought said 108. So then Hourglass, we have Tease 1.5, Obsess 4.5, and Strut number 8. So I hope that was helpful. You can even see, just looking at the swatches on the hand, just how crisp the edges are on Hourglass compared to the YSL. The YSL really has a bit more blur to it overall. It's almost like there's a little bit more wax in the formula. All right, so let's take a look at the Hourglass Blur Balms. And these are going to have your slim style packaging. They are a click up. They don't click back down. One of mine actually moves up just fine, but you can't feel or hear the clicking, so just something to note there. And then let's take a look at these swatches. This is going to be number 35, Mirage. And you can see that this is going to be more of a brown with a touch of a mauve and red mixed in there. And then, so that is number 35. Then we have number 40, Enigma. So I originally purchased 2 of these and I enjoyed them so much that I purchased 2 more shades when I bought the new Hourglass Lip Pencils. So this one here is going to be warmer. This is Enigma 40. And this is almost like a soft terracotta nude. It looks a little bit cooler than it actually is when you have it next to Mirage there. But if you isolate it, it's almost like a warm rose with a touch of terracotta and brown in there. My favorite, 45 Whisper. This is one that I have been wearing a ton. I wear this at least once a week right now. Ever since I bought this one, you can see this is going to be a cooler tone shade. This is going to be a rose with a touch of mauve. And then we have Echo number 50. So this one here is my silent mover. And this is actually a little bit lighter than I expected it to be. And you can see this is going to be a soft peachy rose. So it's going to be a little bit warmer. There's one more shade that I did not purchase that looked just a bit too warm for me. So let's take a look at these on the lips. So the Hourglass Phantom Blur Balms retail for $38 US. We have 1.7 grams of product, a 1-year shelf life, and these are made in Korea. This is described as a lip perfecting balm that delivers feather light blurred color designed to enhance tone, leaving lips smooth and nourished for up to 12 hours. As for fragrance, there is vanillin included in the ingredient list, and you can smell a touch of vanilla in the fragrance, but it's not going to be something overwhelming or anything like that. It's very subtle, and there's no discernible taste or anything with these. One of the things I really like about the newer batch of these Blur Balms, like the Hourglass and the YSL ones here, is these go on in a more creamy fashion, and even though they're giving you that matte, kind of that feathery look on the lips, it's not dry, so you can feel a little bit more of a creaminess. You've got a little bit of that silicone texture to it as well, but it's definitely more comfortable and it's not drying throughout the day. So I'm really enjoying the formula here, and I think it's really comfortable and it's got a good amount of blur to it. The big drawback for the Hourglass Balms, in my opinion, is just that there are only 5 shades, so I'd love to see them expand that and add some cooler tones. Let's take a look at those shades one more time before we move on to the YSL. So here are the shades. Again, we have 35 Mirage. This one here is going to be 40 Enigma. We have 45 Whisper and 50 Echo. So we're going to leave these here and we're going to swatch the YSL right below them. So I ended up purchasing all of the YSL Love Nude lip blushers. I started off with 2 and then I was wearing them all the time, so I ended up picking up the rest of them. This one here is going to be our 44, our Nude Lavalier shade. And you can see this is going to be a soft pink, and it does lean slightly warm. They always call it more of a cooler pink, but it actually is leaning warm. I feel like when I used to wear it 10 years ago, it was cooler than it is now, but that does happen. So then we have number 1 here. And this one here is Undressed Pink. So 1, Undressed Pink. We have 6, Naughty Pink. And this has been my favorite from these. You can see this is going to be a cool tone berry pink. And it's going to be lighter than your traditional berry, but it's got a little touch of that. It's like strawberry and raspberry mixed together. And it's such a pretty shade. 7, Illicit Nude. This is one that I just bought, and I'm really loving this. You can see this one is going to be a nude shade, but it's like a soft reddish brown hue with a little bit more of that rosiness to it versus the brown hue. This is number 8, Mauve Haze, which isn't as mauvey as I expected. This is going to be more of a brown shade with a touch of mauve, but it leans warm. So it's really not going to be, I feel like the name is not the best descriptor. And then we have number 9, 3 a.m. Espresso, which is going to be your cocoa brown shade. I think this is a great shade, particularly for the fall. All right, so we have 40. So looking at our YSL, we have 44, Nude Lavalier, 1, Undressed Pink, 6, Naughty Pink, 7, Illicit Nude, 8, Mauve Haze, and 9, 3 a.m. Espresso. So I hope that was helpful. Let's look at these on the lips. Now these retail for $43 US, so they're a little bit more expensive than the Hourglass, but we have 3 grams of product instead of 1.7 grams of product. So we do have a little bit more product here. We have a 2-year shelf life, and these are made in France. So right now, both the Hourglass and the YSL both have kind of a small range, with Hourglass with 5 shades and YSL with 6. I'd love to see both of these lines expanded. According to YSL, it's a sheer soft diffused matte lip color with a balmy texture and 24 hours of hydration that leaves lips smooth and blurred. So again, we have a very similar description to the Hourglass. These are going to go in the same category. As a matter of fact, the formulas feel very similar. So they're both very creamy to go on. Just like the lip pencils though, I feel like there's a little bit more wax or silicone in these compared to the Hourglass version. So they're a little bit thinner on the lips formula wise, and they both feel very creamy going on, but these just feel like a little bit lighter weight per se. I think both of these give a really great amount of blur, and the colors, they're soft, but they are buildable. One thing to note, YSL lip products, they always have a fragrance, and these are no exception. And these have a little bit of a berry vanilla fragrance. So one of my favorite products to bake with is this berry vanilla extract from Hey La La, and they have unfortunately discontinued that, but that's what this smells like to me. I would make a berry vanilla whipped cream with it quite frequently, and that's exactly what this reminds me of. There is a little bit of taste if you lick your lips with this product on as well. So just something to note. It's not really off-putting. It's kind of familiar or kind of similar to the fragrance, but there is going to be a little bit of that taste. So that's a little bit of a con for me. I'd prefer no fragrance, no taste. It's subtle, and it's not one of those ones that's like, oh, yuck. So overall, I'm okay with it. Between the Hourglass and the YSL lip formulas, I think they are both great blurring lip balms, and your biggest distinction between the two is going to be that the Hourglass is just a little bit creamier. It feels like it's a little bit less waxy. So because of that, it feels like the formula is ever so slightly thicker on the lips. I would not say it feels like a thick formula at all, but if you're familiar with their glossy balms, it has more of that texture, just slightly more mattified. So it just feels a little bit more cushiony per se, whereas the YSL feels a little bit thinner, a little bit more feather light on the lips. So just a little bit of a difference between the two of those. But I think the biggest discerning factor here would be picking the shade that you like. The formulas are similar enough that I feel like, you just kind of want to pick whichever brand has a color that is more alluring to you. So I think that's going to be your biggest distinguishing factor between the two of these. So yes, the formulas are going to be slightly different, but on the lips, they're pretty similar, and they're similar enough that it's really just about which color and undertone works best for you. So let's take a look at all of the swatches one more time. All right, so we've got our 4 Hourglass shades here. This is 35 Mirage, 40 Enigma, 45 Whisper, 50 Echo. And then for our YSL, we have 44 Nude Lavalier, 1 Undress Pink, 6 Naughty Pink, 7 Illicit Nude. This is 8 Mauve Haze, and 9 3 a.m. Espresso. So I hope that was helpful. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've tried any of these formulas and if you have a favorite. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you very soon, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.